Okay, we're back from seeing the video, and I wondered what you saw in that, what phenomena showed up for you. Now, for me, I saw, and there could be more in there or not, but obviously he had an out-of-body experience. He found himself going down the hall. There was light, not a being of light, and he felt warmth, okay? Also, his grandmother came to him, and I just want to note here that he knew it was his grandmother, but she was younger when she came to him, or looked younger. And then also, he had a little bit of a life review, you might remember that. And there was one more, and that is, you could interpret the stairs as being a border, that if he had gone through there, he would go in to heaven. But that was his real concept. He thought, this is heaven, for him. And so things, as you can see, his life really changed after that as well. So, a lot. Well, talking about lives, Swedenborg's life really changed. As a matter of fact, Swedenborg claims that he was able to be simultaneously conscious in both worlds, and we'll get more into this later, for 29 years. For 29 years, that's some kind of near-death experience to go on that long. And so he is able to really understand every different aspect of it and to write about it for us. And that's why we're exploring this as we go on. You're just going to see just how much information Swedenborg is downloading. Now, why do I even give Swedenborg the time of day? I think because what he says makes sense. As you're going to see, especially in this next reading, just starting off, he talks about so many of these different things. It's like, wow. But he tends to give it a context in a greater picture so we understand all the different parts. It's not simply this happens and that happens, but you see the whole picture. He has a complete section on space and time in the other world and how they're different. Section on meeting friends and relatives and things like that are very similar. So I don't base it on something that, some crazy thing that happened with him or whatever, but on the real facts. However, there are a few crazy things that happen with him. And I mean not crazy in the sense of, nutty, but interesting. When people are trying to disprove certain psychic things that happen, I've heard of some people that said the one they can't disprove is the episode of Swedenborg and the Stockholm fire and what happened there. I'm not going to go into all the details, but Swedenborg had a home in Stockholm, Sweden, and he was at a dinner hundreds of miles away in Gothenburg with several people, a lot of people. And he became agitated and upset. He went outside to cool off and come back in, and they asked him, what's going on? And he said, I've heard from the other world, however, that there's a fire that broke out in Stockholm. I mean, again, so far away where they didn't have cell phones back then or anything like that. He explained how the fire started and where it was going and all that. And they just looked at him like, well, that's, I don't know, weird, whatever. Well, he went away again. He came back and he was all relieved. He said, it's okay. The fire is out. And it was like 2 doors, I forget, 2 or 3 doors from my house. They put it out. So they all thought that was really fascinating, but it was several days or a day or two later, that a horseman showed up with the news that it had happened, that there was a fire in Stockholm, and that where it had stopped right near his house. So people were just amazed. How did he know this? And fame of him spread very quickly when people found out about that story. Now, there are a lot of other stories about him and some of that psychic powers that he had. Seemed like he really was connected to the other world in a very real way. But I don't put a lot of credence into them. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to show you that what he says, makes rational common sense. I think that's an interesting story. It might give it a little more, me wanting to pay a little more attention. But really, as we will see, these things really fit together well. Now, in introducing just a quick snapshot that fits a little bit of this, I want you to see another film that's right here, short little video. It's called A Swedenborg Minute with Curtis Childs and Off the Left Eye. So let's just watch this. You'll see a few things that we've been talking about.
Based on what he claimed was 29 years of being able to visit there at will, Swedenborg had a lot to say about what the afterlife is like. I don't even really know where to start. Well, for one thing, he said that everything's more vivid there. Your senses are sharper, the colors are beautiful, and actually, there are some colors there that don't exist here. Yeah, I don't even know how to imagine that. Like, how could there be another color? Don't we have all the possible colors here? Another thing he says is that there, if you want to, you can communicate your thoughts directly to people. And you can actually spontaneously display images as a dual means of getting your point across. So if I was describing an okapi to you, you'd be able to pick one out at the zoo. He says that the communication is so deep and so precise there that you can communicate entire concepts at once. You can say in a minute what would take us an hour here. Also, there's no such thing there as inner beauty. We all just look like we really are inside. So if I'm a really ugly, nasty person, it'll show. But if I'm a kind and lovely person,
So, what did you see there? What did he talk about? Well, there are a couple of things that we could see right there. I loved how he went, I don't know what to tell you, there's so much to tell you. But he talked about, for example, that the senses were keener. You know, that that there were different colors there, even that they didn't have they don't have in this world. He also talked about thought transfer happening, where people don't have to use their voices. We'll learn more about that later on, because Swedenborg does talk about a thought transfer without any voice, but he also talks about a universal language, which is also a thought transfer, but at the same time they are using their voice. So a person, well, we'll get into it later. I'm giving away too much right now. And the last one that he talked about was, he starts talking about that our insides start showing up on the outside. And we have a whole section on that. We're going to be talking about where we become our true selves and it shows up for us. So that's some of what we saw there in Off the Left Eye. And so, you know, looking at the whole picture right now, we can see that's the near-death experience. This is what people are experiencing. Later, we're going to see a few more videos, but go online and go. There's TV shows, you know, that are online right now or on TV. There's great video clips, and get familiar with a lot of what people are saying. So you really see, yeah, a lot of people are saying these things, and now we're going to see how Swedenborg fits in. What I would like to do is, again, assign you the readings that are right there for you from the afterlife, and you're going to be reading pages 3 through 29, 3 through 29. And I call this next section that we're going to be dealing with Entering Eternity. So we'll see you next session. Welcome to the Institute for Swedenborg Studies. Hi, I'm Professor. I can't, I'll get it, you know, it's all, you knew this was going to happen, didn't you? But we are also going to be teaching the teachings of teachings. Oh, I'm going to blow this one.
All right, easy. Positive self-talk.
I joined the International Association for Near-Death Studies, and was one of the first organizations, I think actually the first organization, to really look into this phenomena of people coming back from the dead, and its phenomenon.
That's okay. Not make it or break it.
It makes me look like an idiot on the first session, you know? All right, we'll have to cut that out. Edit that out. I don't want to see that.